Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin just below 42k. It has moved slightly into my expected direction. We talked in the last video about a potential bull flag. We've moved up. I think we broke out of this bull flag. We're going to take a look at that. But so far what I'm lacking or what I'm missing here is the volume on the Bitcoin chart. And until we see that volume come in, there is a big risk that what Bitcoin is doing currently is just a fake out. And if it is a fake out, it will take everything down with it. We currently see the crypto market go up a little bit here. Everybody's getting super bullish already. Yeah, I'm always a bit careful because we've seen that numerous times in this downtrend, that we have also seen days where there was impressive upside, but that is also part of a downtrend. You know, in a downtrend, you have days and weeks where prices can go up. You need that to bring those indicators up in order to create further downside potential. What is good to see is that finally also Cardano has decoupled itself from Bitcoin a little bit, not decoupled, but it's moving up while Bitcoin is moving sideways today, but we're going to talk about that more in the Cardano video. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. And I was asked again here a few times why my view is that we have to get into this yellow target area, why Bitcoin has to make that lower low compared to this wave A low here back in June of 29k. I always get asked, could the low already be in? Yes, of course it could, but only in my opinion with a very, very low probability. I would be very surprised if for whatever reason Bitcoin is not going into this yellow target area. And again, also with TA, but also with the Elliott Wave analysis, there is always a more bullish scenario and a bearish scenario. That is very important to understand. That is important to maintain objectivity. Otherwise, I could just tell you my opinion, but we want to keep it objective to a degree. And we also want to talk about what has the highest probability. So first of all, why do I think it has to make that lower low? So what we are looking here at is quite a high level correction. Yeah, so we made this all-time high back in April, that back then all-time high, then we came down in a wave A, which was the first part of the correction, moved up in an overshooting wave B, which always happens when the market is super bullish. Everybody expected 100k Bitcoin and more. This was therefore probably the case that we moved up quite strongly, but it was only part of the correction, and therefore I always say the correction has now nearly lasted a year. Yeah, basically the correction began here on the 14th of April. Yeah. And now we are in this wave C. There are of course wave counts and Elliott wave patterns where the wave C does not go below the wave A. That would be called a running flat, yeah, especially if the wave B went above the beginning of the wave A. So where you had an overshooting wave B, that could be a running flat. Yes, it could be. But a running flat, from my opinion, but not only from my opinion, generally, a running flat is an extremely rare pattern. It's extremely rare. It's even rarer. Is that actually a word? It's even more rare in a in the crypto market, and it is even more rare in such a higher degree wave pattern. Yeah, in such a higher wave degree. It would surprise me really. Yeah, nothing is impossible. I'm not naive. I know this could happen, and therefore I told you that I already started to dollar cost average into Bitcoin below 40k just to secure myself or to protect myself from potential upside, yeah, because I don't want to miss it. Okay, that is just part of my strategy. Even though I have here my probabilities on the chart, and even I think we're going to go into a certain direction, I always want to make sure I'm prepared for both scenarios. Yeah. I think this is the most, I've over the years, this has worked very well for me. So what we're looking here is not a running flat, in my opinion. I think we have to expect an expanded flat. An expanded flat would mean that in this wave C, you're getting lower than the wave A. And we've got numerous examples from various different assets, different time frames where this has happened. Just to show you what is actually an expanded flat. It is this, where you make a high, and then you make your A, B, C. Also here you can see in a wave 2, that is quite common. Here is a wave 2, very, very similar pattern. A, that low in June, a B, an overshooting wave B in November, and now you're in this wave C, yeah. And you can see here the wave C is a 5-wave move, and we could still be in that wave 4 of the wave C. So this last leg down, this 5th wave, is still what I expect to happen here to reach this yellow target area, okay? And this is common. We have examples on different time frames. I showed you that before. Here the S&P 500, where you had a very similar pattern. You had your wave A. I mean, this lasted over a longer period, but doesn't matter. It works on all time frames. A overshooting wave B and your wave C down. Yeah, we've had that again here with an A, you're overshooting wave B and your wave C down. So we see this regularly. Also here on the S&P 500, A, B, and C the other way, okay? So it also happens the other way around, okay? But yeah, you see it everywhere basically, right? And it happens time and time again, and it's the most or a more common way of a correction. And we can only assume probabilities. I mean, I could tell you all sorts of different patterns what could happen here, but that wouldn't help you. So I tell you for each scenario, the more bullish and the more bearish version, what is going to happen if Bitcoin does this, then with the highest probability that is going to happen. So if Bitcoin breaks to the downside of this triangle, with the highest probability, we are going to get into this yellow target area. Yeah, this is between 20 and 29K, with the highest probability in my point of view would be the 27.5K level, the 61.8 Fib level. The alternative, the more bullish version, but actually not bullish, is if we break above this triangle to the upside, 45.5K, then you can move in a different wave pattern here into this target area between 55 and 65K. So we then need to see how the price reacts to these resistance levels and how far it gets into this target area. It would find its way into this area, and that is important, and then it would turn around and get into my yellow target area. So I'm very, very specific here that either way I see this happen, okay? So that is very important. Okay, hopefully that cleared things up a little bit. We can currently see how Bitcoin is back above 42K. So we talked about this in the previous video today. So last few days we talked about this being a bull flag, that breakout happened. We talked about this being a bull flag, that breakout happened, even though we're not seeing the volume. So I'm very skeptical. But the first price target was reached. We talked about this, the beginning of that sort of wedge. That has been reached. Now Bitcoin at a very important resistance here at 42.1K. If it moves above that and we see the volume, yes, we are finally going to get to that level that I expected, 42.7K. It's taken a little bit longer than expected, but we talked about if Bitcoin manages to break above this 39.7K into this zone here, then it should be able to fairly quickly move back here into this to the top of that range, yeah, which is located at 42.7K. And if it moves above that, then we can get very quickly to that 44.5K level. And that is what I'm looking here at the moment. But everything, as I said, everything that is happening in this triangle, it is nearly a 50-50 thing. Yeah, it's nearly a 50-50 thing what is going to happen here. I mean, I still see it more likely that we break to the downside. Even if I say 50-50, I see it more like 60 to 65% here probability to the downside. Yeah, and 30 to 30 or 35 to 40% upside before we then come down, okay? Both scenarios absolutely valid, both scenarios absolutely possible, and no, it's not an up or down, it is a, if we go down here, then this happens, if we go up here, then this happens. So you're very well informed and you are prepared for both scenarios, okay? And yeah, other than that, I would be waiting here for further upside for Bitcoin, but as I said, 42.1K, a very important resistance, and if the volume doesn't come in, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, and then we have a fake out, and we could drop down again to 39.7K. Yeah, but everything that is moving in this triangle, it doesn't really tell us anything, right? It doesn't really tell us anything. All it does, if Bitcoin is in a leg up like it is at the moment, we can see the altcoins move up as well. And yeah, so that played out. We talked about this likelihood that we're moving higher if we break the 39.7, and then of course if Bitcoin moves up, the altcoins are moving up as well. Is it a sustainable move up? Probably not, because we are still in the triangle, so I'd be extremely careful with that. But there you go. This is the crypto market, a highly volatile market, and we have to live with this volatility. But then again, if we don't have the volatility, it's boring, isn't it? So looking forward to that. And yeah, so nothing has changed in my expectations. But of course, I'll keep you updated here about anything that could be changing here on the charts. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe as well. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.